Hello. Um, Welcome to the Music Conservatory calculator. Hopefully this informative video will help you understand how to properly use it. As you can see, we are starting off with the Instructions tab. Down here you will see many tabs, and we will get to that in a second. The first tab is Instructions. First you will see uh, a wall of text with instructions, and then underneath it you will see definitions uh, and the word usage. So, for instance, the green fields are fields that you should fill out. Anything that is not green should not be filled out. We will get through most of these, if not all of them, during this video. Um, so, without further ado, let's get started. We will begin with DS January. DS stands for Development Staff. Development staff is solely funded by grants/donations. BS, or building staff, is funded by tuition, partially. The main difference between DS and BS is that development staff is only funded by grants and donations. As you can see, there are two tables. Table 1 and Table 2. Table 1 starts with the total hours used for charged rooms per month of DS and BS. It is populated by adding all of the hours used for chargeable rooms in DS, and then adds all these together plus all of the hours that are used in BS, and combines it to get the total hours of charged rooms per month right here. It is auto-populated based off of the table information that is filled in Table 2. Back to the first table, we have total cost of employment, building only. So this is all employees that are not part of the development staff. You put the monthly cost in here, and it will auto-populate right here in the BS. All of these will be auto-populated based off of your inputs in DS January. Next is total utilities cost. This is self-explanatory. It's all the utilities for the month of January, then all instrument repair costs, and then finally all other costs that are not included in these three. And as I said before, it auto-populates in this section right here. Here you get the total cost you will get the total cost for that month of all bills added up here, and you can see it's $516,000. When we go to DS January, however, it is $566,000. That is because it includes the development staff cost. This input is only calculated into the DS part of the calculator and not the BS part, because it is only funded by tuition and not only funded by grants and donation and not funded by tuition. And as you can see, it's an extra $50,000 because of development staff cost. Next we go to the total square footage of rooms that earn money. This is the same as the total hours of DS and BS. It literally takes the square footage in this field and the square footage in this field and adds it all together to get this number. Next we get the percent of profit wanted. For DS, because it is grant/donation funded, it will most likely be 0 because it's non-for-profit. Whereas if it's tuition based, you may want to show that you are earning a profit. But on the off chance that you want to show that you earn profit on both, you can say, I want to make 20% profit in the month of January off of uh, tuition-based funding, and say you want to make 10% based off of grant donation-based funding. Um, Under that, we have the percent of cost that is funded by grants/donations. So for these utility costs, you need to determine what percent is funded by grants and donations for the cost of building only employment, utility costs, instrument repair, and other costs. And as you can see, these are hypothetical portions for each of these fundings. If you go over to January, you will see that it is auto-populated with the other portion. The only part of the BS Table 1 field that needs to be populated is the percent wanted profit. Because, as explained earlier, it is different from DS. Everything else will be auto-populated based off of your inputs from DS. Next, we go down to Table 2. Right here, you can see there are 4 sections that need to be filled in. First is the room number, which is earning money. So you say, for instance, A12. Then you say the instrument or class that is taught in that room. So let's say it's guitar. Then you put in the number of hours that room was used that month. So let's say 160. And then let's say that the square footage is 400 square feet. The calculator will then put in all this information and give you the monthly rent or earnings that room should be providing you. So that room was worked 160 hours. The total monthly rent or / earnings that it should be making or generating would be $44,000. And if you were to break that down by hour, it would be approximately $275 an hour. Now, as you can see, there is a check to make sure that this information was filled in properly. As you can see, both the hours used for room and the square footage for the room are populated, so you will get a yes. If nothing is filled in, you will get a no. Similarly, if only one of the hours for room or room square footage is populated, you will also get a no. This is because it will add in numbers, as you can see right here, that should not be included. So always make sure that if you have hours used for room or monthly square footage, that you also have the corresponding numbers for the other section. This ensures that you get yeses and that this is populated correctly. Finally, we get to total DS earnings and total DS worked hours. This will sum up this is the sum of all the rent earnings per month, right here. And then this is the sum of all hours worked that month. Once you are finished with January DS, go to January BS and make sure to fully fill this in, the same as you did with the DS of January, so that you have an accurate total hours used of charge rooms and a total square footage used that month. Otherwise, your numbers will be incorrect. So make sure that for January, everything is filled in before you decide to use the hourly rent for that room. Otherwise, your numbers will be off. When you're done filling in DS and BS for that month, come down here to the bottom right and click on the 3 lines, or if you can scroll over to the very end, and click on cost breakdown plus earnings right here at the very end. This will give you your cost breakdown and earnings for every month for all of the DS calculators and all of the BS calculators. So just a quick walkthrough. Total hours used for charge rooms BS and DS for January. It all populates in here. It all auto-populates from the information that we put in earlier. As you can see for DS, the development staff cost is included, and for BS, the development staff cost is zeroed, as it is not applicable for building only staff. Finally, over in this slot right here, you can see the totals of the year for DS and for BS, and the yearly averages for the percent of percent funded for each cost. So for instance, percent cost of employment that's grant funded, that's building only, you'll see it's an average of 75% because in January it was 20% funded by grants, and then the rest of the year it was funded 80% by grants. And the same goes for BS. Scrolling down, we come to the last two tables. So the table right here will show you the total rent earnings. So you'll see that rent earnings or rent funding that is funded by grants or donations is DS right here. So 5 million of rent was paid by donations and grants, and 1 million was paid by tuition. Then you get the total rent earning right here, which just sums these two up, the yearly and the monthly. Finally, we get to earnings after cost. So this takes your total rent earnings, this right here, it puts it here, and it compares it to the total costs. As you can see, in the month of January, because we put the percent of wanted profit, there is an earnings after cost of $60,000 in January. Everything else is zeroed out. If we go back to January and edit this, so let's say it's 0, and then let's say that this is also 0, and then we go back. Oh, that's all right. Oh, make sure you put in the right thing. 0. We'll make this 10 again. Okay. So that's 0, and percent wanted profit is 0. You go back here, you can see it's back to 0. Now, there's two more mistakes that you need to watch out for. Going back to January, let's say that you accidentally put in a negative percent wanted for profit, or just a negative number somewhere in here. So let's say it's negative, and let's say it's 60%, just so that it's a noticeable negative effect. And then let's say that you also fat fingered this, and you typed in, instead of, say you wanted to change it from 12 to 13, let's say we wanted to, or from 12, let's say we wanted to make it 13, but we accidentally type in 130. As you can see, it's a much larger number. So always double check these numbers that are populated in here so that they are correct. So we're going to change this back to 13. All you have to do is literally click on it, type in a number, and it'll auto-populate. But if you delete it and then type in a number, it'll give you a much larger number. So just left-click once, type in the number, and press enter. Anyways, back to the negative. So percent wanted negative 60%. If we go back to the cost breakdown and earnings, you'll see that the earnings after the costs are negative and that you need to recheck the sheet. The calculator will always at least break even. If there is a negative number in here for some reason, go back to the sheet that it is referring to. So for this, it says go check your January sheets. And then, as we know, it's in DS, but you might not know which one. Double check these, make sure that there's no negatives. So for this, let's change it back to 60. Is it done here? Go back to cost breakdown, and as you can see, it's now good again. Hopefully this video was informative and will help you understand how to use this tool. Thank you.